Hi YouTubers, it's Evan and Exaggerating Comments. So it's going to be a comments video right now. So this is going to be kind of like kid comments, voice comments, gay comments, kid comments, that kind of stuff. So I want to talk about exaggerating comments right now. So exaggerating comments are basically comments from people who exaggerate stuff. Now, what does exaggerate mean? Exaggerate, which is spelled E-X-A-G-G-E-R-A-T-I-N-G, exaggerating. Basically, that means when you make something that is smaller look bigger. So even though in real life it's not actually that big, as in how big is it, big boy, big ass cigar for life, you make a situation look a lot bigger than it actually is, or something physical make it look a lot bigger. So example would be saying, well, your shoe looks like you're a size 15 when you're actually a size 10. So that's exaggerating. And basically, people who exaggerate tend to be people who might have their own issues themselves, but I want to talk about people on YouTube, two specific comments where people do exaggerate. And I kind of talked about this a while back. I'm actually looking at my computer screen right now, back in January 3rd of this year. So and I kind of briefly touched on this, but I want to touch on this again. Basically, people who will write comments in regards to tobacco, whether it's cigarettes, cigars, pipes, hookah, chew, dip, snooze, and they will exaggerate your habit. Now, obviously, this is for adults, so you're being over 18, you're over 21. It's not to encourage young people to smoke or young people to chew. So you get the point. Big ass cigar for life. So people will say, wow, really, you're smoking, one time a day. I remember, I think it was back in 2011, I said to my brother, who is 7 years younger than me, and we adopted him. I don't bring up my brother very often on my channel, but you get the point. I said, yeah, I smoke 2 pipes a day. He's like, really, 2 pipes? 2 pipes a day, Evan? That's a lot of tobacco. I'm like, really? I mean, 2 pipes a day, that's pretty average. I think most people smoke, on average, maybe 1-2 pipes a day. That's pretty typical, but for somebody who is obviously, 12, 13 years old, and somebody who has probably gone through a lot of health education, and they do the usual scare, try to scare people out of using tobacco products, which is good, because you don't want people under 18, under 21 to be smoking in the first place. Ideally, you don't want anyone smoking, but you get the point. I don't think 2 pipes a day is that much. I mean, now if you're talking about Piper and CHS pipes, like Piper and CHS pipes are like trash can sized pipes, and obviously, yes. Then obviously, yes, that's a lot of tobacco, that's a load of tobacco, and you definitely are using a lot more tobacco than the average person. But if you're talking about your average size briar, clay, meerschaum pipe, or corncob pipe, that's not a lot. I mean, that's a 20-minute smoke, half an hour smoke, and you're not really consuming that much tobacco. I mean, a little bit more than a cigarette, probably. And you're actually not inhaling the smoke, which obviously does not damage your lungs, but you still have a risk of, oral and esophageal. So, not going to get too much into that, but you get the point. I really don't think, 1 or 2 pipes a day is really that big of a deal. Same thing as like 1 or 2 cigars a day. I mean, if you're talking about like a cigar that's this long, like one of those, what do they call them, Don Mamba cigars. Brian did a review of that cigar a couple years ago, and that's like a 5-hour smoke. Obviously, if you're smoking for 10 hours straight, then you're consuming a load of tobacco. That's obviously a shitload of tobacco. But if you're just talking about a standard, Robusto cigar, 1 or 2 Robusto cigars a day, not a big deal. So you get the point. It's people who are turning, something that's normally pretty small into a big deal. It's like the same people who say black when I say white. When I say I smoke, 1 cigar a day, they say I smoke 10 cigars a day. You're basically not really lying. That's the differences between these people in the black and white comments is you're not really lying because you are agreeing with what I say, that I smoke 1 or 2 pipes a day, but you're making something that's a very small deal into a big deal. And also, that can go same with being overweight. For people who are overweight like me, I am moderately overweight. Ideal weight for me would be, according to my doctor, nice big ass, or like a big ass cigar, would be about 170 pounds. And, technically I am about 50 pounds overweight. People are like, wow, that's freaking disgusting, Evan. You're 50 pounds overweight. That's freaking disgusting. But when you actually look at my body size, my bodybuilding, you actually look it down to a realistic weight which is about 200 pounds. It's really not that big of a deal. It's actually more like 20 pounds overweight. So, and now if for people who are obviously jocks, bodybuilders, gym fetish people, creepy stuff, creepy shit, and those people are like, well, anyone who's 5 pounds overweight is automatically 500 pounds, and people like that, it's kind of like screw them. It's like, I'm not interested in being ripped, muscly, six pack, 15-inch. And you know what? People like that are just ridiculous. But people like that will often over-exaggerate. I knew people a while back who really over-exaggerate like that. Who would say, like, you look way fatter than your size, or you smoke more than you smoke. And that's really like, that's the point of exaggeration comments, or exaggerating comments, is people who are basically turning something that's normally very small into very big. Another good example would be saying, say I got a troll comment on YouTube, and I said, buzz off, troll. Then they said, hey, how dare you tell me to F off, whatever. It's like, I didn't tell you to F off, I told you to buzz off. And that's kind of like the point of exaggeration comments, is like, it's turning a small situation. It's like, say I got a troll comment, somebody called me a dick on YouTube, and I said, you know what, maybe we should not talk to each other. He's like, well, how dare you insult me? I'm going to go flag this video, you dumbass, whatever. And it's like, that's the point of exaggeration comments, is people who make a big deal out of nothing, a big deal out of nothing. So give me your thoughts, comment, like the video, rate, subscribe, and you get the point. It's like people who will think, somebody my size who's about, maybe 20, 30 pounds overweight, 40 pounds overweight is 550 pounds. And people who will think, somebody who smokes one pipe a day is really killing themselves, which in reality, smoking one pipe a day and not inhaling is probably no worse than eating a cheeseburger every single day, or less than that. So anyway, big ass stuff like, that's by exaggeration comments, by next big ass comment, big ass cigar.